Ask again. No, you said that there are vessels of the public which are raised to the Creator and my connection to the Creator. They're basically different vessels, and we always learned that specifically in the vessels of the public the Creator becomes revealed that it's not different vessels. So what's the connection or the difference? Here, yes, we will probably discover it the vessels that are revealed from above downward or the vessels that are revealed from below upwards. There's a difference between them. So can we then say that from above downwards that there's the influence of the 10 over me, and from below upwards we call it the public? Is there something along the lines of this kind of work with the 10? Yes, perhaps, but to say that it's correct in every case I can't. Then what's the difference between the 10 and the public? The 10 is a corrected part of the public. How do I work with them? What's the difference with my vessels that are working with the part that's corrected in the public? What's the difference between working with that corrected part which is already corrected? Yes, so then what do I do with it which is different from the work with the not non-corrected part? How do you determine that it's corrected only above? Reason that's no fact. So how can I define the corrected part of the public is the one that's in adhesion with the Creator? I still can't locate it, so I don't have how to determine that just because this is the 10 and we're studying here with you from the writings of Rabash. So to me that is a certain starting point for now. Yes, exactly. Then what's the part with the so-called core broken part? What's the difference between how I work with the 10 which I look at as adhere to the Creator and the part of the public which is still not correct? You need to work with this and to work with that, but what's the difference in my work with them toward the part that wants to be corrected in the public? You work by being incorporated in it, connected with it, and you kind of cool it with you. And with respect to the corrected part, toward the corrected part you only incorporate in them, so is to advance together with them. And with respect to the part that doesn't want to be corrected, that doesn't have the desire, not that it doesn't have a desire for correction, then you need to awaken it. Okay, all right. Yes, when you look at it within the person or on the outside, it's the same question, because the medium already has some degree of attainment, some connection to the Creator. Yes, and the public is in concealment. In order to become incorporated with them, he has to wear some concealment over himself, otherwise it's two worlds. How can he connect with them? He essentially makes an action like the Creator. So how does he wears this garment of concealment to speak through their language to bring them to him? That's not clear. Again, the question, how does the medium which already has direct connection with the Creator puts on himself such a concealment in order to speak to the public through their language? What does it mean that he is in a direct connection with the Creator? Friends, we'll start our preparation for the upcoming lesson. We will read together the letters from the source text that will accompany us in the lesson, and then we will prepare together questions for the lesson. We're reading from the writing of Alam in Hebrew. It's page 797 from the introduction to the study of the T of You wrote. We are in items 128 and 129, so let's prepare questions for the lesson from the text we will read. Now, item 128, the Bri ends. What does it say after that? The righteous perishes. That is the quality of complete righteous which that person should merit is lost from him, and no one notices, or because of the evil the righteous perished. This means that because that medium did not suffer with the public, he cannot attain repentance from love, which inverts sins to merits and evils to wondrous pleasures. Instead, all the mistakes and the evil that he suffered before he acquired repentance from fear still stand in the state of wicked who feel harm from his providence, and because of these harms that they still feel, he cannot be rewarded with being complete righteous. The writing says, and no one Notices meaning that that person does not notice because of their evil in other words, because of the harms that one still feels in his providence from the past. The righteous perishes, meaning he lost the quality of righteous, and he will die and pass away from the world as mere medium. This concerns he who does not suffer with the public and is not awarded seeing the comfort of the public, for he will not be able to sentence them to the scale of merit and see their consolation, hence he will never attain the state of righteous. 29. From all the mentioned we have come to know that there is no woman-born person who will not experience the three above attributes: the attribute of wicked, the attribute of medium, and the attribute of righteous. They are called middle attributes or measures, since they are extended from the midder, the measure of the attainment of his providence. Our sages said to the extent that one all lots he is allotted those who attain his providence in concealment of the face are considered wicked or incomplete. Wicked from the perspective of the single concealment, or complete wicked from the perspective of the double concealment, because they feel and think that the world is conducted in bed providence. It is as though they condemn themselves, since they receive torments and pains from his providence and feel only bad all day long, and they condemn the most by thinking that all the people in the world are watched over like them in bad guidance. Those who attain providence from the perspective of the concealment of the face are called wicked, since that name appears in them out of the depth of their sensation. It depends on the understanding of the heart, and the words or the thought that justifies his providence do not matter at all when it opposes the sensation of every organ and sense, which cannot force themselves to lie as it does. And they who are in the measure of attainment of providence are considered to have sentenced themselves in the whole world to the side of fault, as it is written in the words of Raza, son of Rabbi Shimon. This is because they imagine that all the people in the world are watched over in bad providence like them, as would beat his name the good who does good to the good and to the bad. Active workshop discussed together the source excerpts. We read and write down questions that came up in the 10 towards the lesson. Discussed together the source excerpts. We read and write down questions that came up in the 10 towards the lesson. Writes that one who does not suffer with the public doesn't merit the comfort of the public. So what is the process that a person goes through before it corrects the public so that he can become worthy? First, we're talking about him sentencing the world to the scale of marriage. So first of all, he makes a certain correction in order to be able to correct them. Yes, it says here, what does it say? The righteous perished, meaning the quality of righteous in the person. So how will we succeed in identifying the quality of righteous when it perishes, before it perishes, after it perishes? Meaning, how will we have this orientation, this sensitivity, so is to feel that it is happening. We learned about man himself that he, if he makes commandments or transgressions, then he shifts the whole world to the scale of merit or debt. And here he talks about connection with the public as well, that if a person does not suffer with the public, then he also fails. So the question is, first, who is the public, and how do we get to that state where he is suffering with the public? These items are very interesting. There's a little bit of a feeling that we're even below the scrutiny of wicked or righteous or medium. They do bring up the need to understand how to rise to a higher state, to what Basim is talking about. Let's hope that we will succeed in converging strongly enough with high enough intensity so that we will be able to feel it a bit more. Yes, the Sist writes profound things here that require attainment, require internality. I don't know, one of the questions is, what does it mean when to the extent that one weighs, he is being weighed? What exactly does that mean, and what is being weighed? Yes, two things are popped up for me. One is that the medium did not suffer with the public and therefore cannot be rewarded with repentance from love. So, indeed, how do we reach that also the question, just like the friend said how to suffer, feel the pain, because everything depends on that repentance from love. How do you suffer with the public? One more thing that I saw here, that the words and the thought that justifies his providence do not matter at all if they oppose the sensation of all the organs and senses which do not know, which cannot force themselves to lie. So he is writing to us about a degree where we have to feel providence is good. And it is good to reach this degree. It's not enough just think about it or talk about it. There are many questions here. First of all, what's the difference between repentance from the correction of repentance from fear and that of repentance from love? Cousin, repentance from fear, he seems like he doesn't need to be suffering with the public, but in love he does need. And also, what is the order of the correction for each of them, and how can we discern within us what are the wicked and what are the medium ones? Also the matter of the public, how can we feel all of humanity as the public? How can you receive such a big vessel and begin working with it? We should ask together from the Creator that he will help us to get closer to these words. By BAM, we will move to a silent workshop. We'll enter a connection in one heart and feel the Creator. There again, silent workshop. Let's enter a connection in one heart and feel Creator. There a Shom. Hello, we reading from the writings of from the Introduction to the Study of the T-Rot. We are in item 128. You can find the study materials in the AR system. You can also send us questions live through these websites. Anyone asking a question here in the study hall is asked to stand up, hold the microphone close to his mouth and speak loud and clear. The writings of Basim in Hebrew, page 797. The introduction to the study of the tense. If you wrote item 128 ends, what does it say after that? The righteous perished, that is the attribute of complete righteous which that person should be rewarded with, is lost from him and no one notices, for because of the evil the righteous perished. This means that because that medium did not suffer with the public, he cannot attain repentance from love, which inverts the sins to merits and the evils to wondrous pleasures. Instead, all the mistakes, the evils he had suffered before he acquired repentance from fear, still stand in the attribute of wicked who feel harm from his providence, and because of these harms that they still feel, he cannot be awarded being complete righteous. The writing says, and no one notices, meaning that that person does not notice because of the evil, and not another word because of the harms that one still feels in his providence from the past. The righteous perishes, meaning he lost the attribute of righteous, and he will die and pass away from the world as mere medium. All this concerns those who do not suffer from with the public, are not rewarded seeing the comfort of their public, for he will not be able to shift them to the scale to the side of merit and see their consolation. Hence he will never attain the attribute of righteous. We'll read it again. 128. The Bri ends. What does it say after that? The righteous perished, that is the attribute of complete righteous which that person should merit, was lost from him and no one notices, for because of the evil the righteous perished. This means that because that medium did not suffer with the public, he cannot attain repentance from love, which inverts the sins to merits and the evils to wondrous pleasures. Instead, all the mistakes and the evils he had suffered before he was acquired repentance from fear, still stand in the state of wicked who feel harm from his providence, and because of these harms that they still feel, he cannot be awarded being complete righteous. The writing says, and no one notices, meaning that that person does not notice, quote, because of the evil, unquote. In other words, because of the harms that one still feels in his providence from the past. The righteous perished, meaning he lost the attribute the righteous, and he will die and pass away from the world as mere Medium, all this concerns he who does not suffer with the public, is not awarded seeing the comfort of the public, for he will not be able to sentence them to the side of merit and see their consolation, hence he will never attain the attribute of righteous. Item 129. From all Pfeffer mentioned we have come to know that there is no woman-born person who will not experience the three above attributes: the attribute of wicked, the attribute of medium, and the attribute of righteous. They are called midot attributes or measures, since they are extended from the midder, the measure of their attainment of his providence. Are sages, they in the way that one measures he is measured. Those who attain his providence in concealment of the face are considered wicked or incomplete. Wicked from the perspective of the single concealment, or complete wicked from the perspective of the double concealment, because they feel and think that the world is condu in bad providence. It is as though they condemn themselves, since they receive torments and pains from his providence, and feel only bad all way, all day long, and they condemn the most by thinking that all the people in the world are watched over like them in bad providence. Those who attain providence from the perspective of concealment of the face are called wicked, since that name appears in them out of the depth of their sensation. He depends on the understanding of the heart, and the words or the thought that justifies his providence do not matter at all when it opposes the sensation of every organ and sense, which cannot force themselves to lie as it does. And they who are in the measure of attainment of providence, yet in this measure of attainment of providence, are considered to have shifted themselves and the whole world to the side of fault, as it is written in the words of Rishimer, Alas, son of. This is because they imagine that all the people in the world are watched over in bad providence like them, as God forbid, as it would bate his name the good who does good to the good and to the bad. Questions, please. Yes, in it says in 129, from the depths of their sensation this name is revealed in them. It depends on the understanding of the heart, and the words of the thought that justifies his providence do not matter at all when it opposes the sensation of every organ and sense, which cannot force themselves to lie as it does. My question is, what is this action of justifying? Because what I understand from what it says here is that there is no such action whatever. You feel that's your status. Yes, so what does it mean to justify the Creator? But since he accepts the Creator is good, that does good to everyone, and he feels accordingly, then he justifies the Creator. Okay, so that's an advanced status when he feels the Creator is good and does good to everyone, and as a result of this sensation he justifies the Creator on an earlier status when he's still condemning his organs, his senses feel bad for himself, bad for others, then he condemns the Creator. Yes, so what is the action that advances a person from the status of wicked to the state of righteous? That even though he feels that his providence doesn't come to him correctly by way of the name the good that does good, so he feels sorry for that, and he calls himself a wicked, and he asks the Creator to open his eyes and heart. In item 128 he says that the righteous perished because he did not suffer with the public. That's already called medium. He did not suffer with the public, so the question is, he has some evil within him, but he doesn't take care of it, doesn't detect it, and so he cannot advance and be in repentance from love. Yes, he says that he perished from the world and didn't reach it. He remained medium. So there are a few questions. First of all, what does it mean that he perished from the world and remained medium, but he died physically, or he ended his work there spiritually? What does it mean that he perished from the world and remained medium? As a righteous he's perished, right? Yes. He cannot justify the Creator. He seemingly from his perspective he justifies just that. He doesn't notice that he has other qualities of wicked that he did not yet correct. That's how I understand it. Maybe I'm wrong. And then he says the righteous perished and no one notices. Yes, So what is this? He perished from the world, he becomes wicked again, or what that same person who feels now that he cannot justify the Creator basically disappears from the world he condemns again, he goes back into concealment, he condemns, he in concealment, he has nowhere to come back to, he was already in concealment. Second question is if he's already in revelation in the degree of fear he's told you do not suffer with the public, this is why you can't advance. So should he suffer with the public now, when he's in the degree of a fear, or maybe early he wasn't incorporated, and so he can't no, it's never too late, never too late if he has such an opportunity. Go ahead. This means actually he's telling us even if you reach the degree of medium to a certain extent, you must always be incorporated or feel the suffering of the public, never remain a correct. Dia also wanted to ask about this verse. You could expla, and no one notices because of the evil, the righteous perished, that the world doesn't feel that there was a righteous, and now he's gone, that he is no longer among those who are destined to be righteous. The world doesn't feel that the righteous perished. Well, they didn't feel him before is righteous, they never felt that he's righteous. It's correct, but we're not talking about the whole world, we're talking about those who have a sensation, a reality. What do you mean the world? Here the world typically means the souls that are in connection with the Creator, and they can see the ups and downs in the world through themselves, and because of which evil did the righteous perish, that they did not want, not that they did not want, how to put it, they didn't succeed, they didn't pay attention, they didn't put in the efforts, so that the person that is in concealment, for him to advance. This means that if the people in the world did not pay, did not notice, no one notice, it makes the righteous become perish. Correct. What's the relationship, the connection between the righteous and the people of the world? Because he determines their degree, and if he perishes because of their evil, so what is their state? Was his state? What next? How do we move on? I mean they need each other. What's next? He doesn't write up, but we can say that they don't become righteous again. So how can the righteous be revived after he perishes? To move from wicked to righteous, because he is now as a wicked. Okay, but why does the righteous become wicked? Why doesn't he come back to medium in the order of the stages? He was wicked, medium, righteous, so why immediately from righteous to wicked? Now, when you fall from righteous to wicked. When you rise through the medium. So again, what should the people of the world do if the righteous perished? The people of the world cannot do anything besides those who are among them, and can sense the state of the righteous. They see that he's no longer a righteous, meaning that he doesn't justify the Creator, so they already feel sorrow for it. They want to bring him back to the place where he was. He would indicate their state, and those of the people of the world who do feel that the righteous perished. What is the degree? What is their sorrow? Change or correct measure of sorrow that people feel in that they are righteous, wicked, or they move from their degree to a lower degree. All of that prepares them for repentance. What is their sorrow over? It's not an egoistic sorrow. They themselves don't feel that something's lost from them, but something is lost from the world. So I'm asking about their sorrow. What is it about their sorrow is for the world? Okay. Thanks. Earlier read a quote that also appealed to me, which says the fact that you justify in your brain, in your mind, is worth nothing if you don't feel it in your heart. I see that state very much. I can see the whole system opposite me, and the process of creation, and how the Creator leads us precisely in with the right steps, and this is what is holding us in prayers on the path. On the other hand, in the ego there are always complaints about what he's doing, so it seems like something is wrong with the direction. What's wrong is that the ego doesn't justify the Creator, and the point in the heart, in the head. Yes, but here there are always complaints. Yes, I see that with all of These years the prayers do not change. That situation they do strengthen you on. The path they give us support, they help us to advance, to move on. But it doesn't seem like the state changes, the state of complaining about the Creator. Yes, so it's not okay according to what is written here. What do I mean not okay? You want to feel and speak like the Creator. I had the impression that we will always be in complaints, but this is the place to be above reason, to hold each other actually with intellectual justification that He knows what He's doing even though we don't feel that. And then what does that? It let us keep moving and keep drawing light. So continue. What's the problem? Because according to the sex I understood it, it's not okay if you don't feel it in your organs. Whatever justifications you have in your mind are worthless. No, a lot. No, it's not that much okay. We'll see this that only I had. Maybe if we can separate it into, is there such a thing as a feeling in the ego that will always be complaining, and nevertheless a little bit of a feeling in the point in the heart, some illumination from afar, that this is nevertheless the truth? Maybe we can settle it in such a way that too can happen. More yes. Please. Good morning of this question came to me from Germany. What brings us to the stage of the righteous? What brings us to the state of righteous? To work in the group, this stud together in the group, investing in a feeling, coming closer to the Creator as much as possible, holding on to Him, feeling what reality is the Creator. And if we gather in such a way, high enough number, let's say then by that we can change reality. It is written that I created the evil inclination, I created Torah as a spies. What is the relationship of the righteous to the evil? The connection between the righteous and the evil inclination, it depends on what degree is the righteous, what degree is the evil inclination. The connection is that they're in a single person. It is written now in point 128, for because of the evil the righteous perished, for because of is written in 128, it because of the evil the righteous perished. Between the righteous and the evil. And how can he perish because of the evil? First, that first man was in a situation where he justified the Creator, even in some feelings he would justify. Now he comes to a state where he cannot justify, and this possibility that from the feeling of the wicked he cannot rise to the feeling of the righteous, and that's what happens, that he remains in this degree forever. 2. Again, as much as I understand what Balasan writes here, the degree of medium, in that degree we can't really feel the suffer with the public feel their sorrow. That's clear, because these are vessels of mine is mine, yours is yours. In order to reach a degree where I truly suffer with the public, I have to use the vessels of reception to correct them to be in order to bestow. So the question is, until the end of correction, as I understand, we don't use the true vessel of reception. We each, that's our correction. But what we call the hour of assent, it's actually an act of ball. It's not really reception, because the upper one anals towards the lower one in order to bring him out to corrections and help him. So the question is, this light of is Russia's cake that you dip in the whiskey, does it give you the feeling of sorrow? Because we discover the vessels of reception only as surrounding lights, 4/3 and of 3/4. Yes, and so my question is, when the upper one now and passes on or helps the lower one to rise, does that give you the feeling of the sorrow of the public? Does he suffer that state? So until the UN correction we don't reach what suffering with the public? I guess I don't think so. Why can't we suffer with the public? Because according to what I understand, we cannot use the vessels of reception, because all the vessels of reception, that's the stony heart, it's under restriction. The only action that I hear about and I read is her of assent, the upper one, and ALS comes down from its degree in order to bring the lower one up to correction. Right, yes, so this action is what we can do until the end of correction, not more than that. So there is no feeling that I'm suffering with the public already. Yes, so okay, that was my question. Another small question, so if we're Here are group I don't know a few groups. In Israel, if we just correct let's say to be to bestow in order to bestow the degree of medium, but we don't yet reach a sea of assent, then we can't pacify all the troubles in the world. No thank you. If a person justifies the Creator with respect to the past, but in the present, he doesn't feel everything is good, does it mean that he's righteous towards the past, but not yet towards the present? What is this state? Should there be also immediate justification of their present? Yes, he has to justify him, yeah. Please, thank you very much. Rob, I wanted to ask about a point. He says that if you sentence, if you see everyone on the side of merit, you shift all of them, sentence all the created beings to the scale of merit. It lets you rise to the degree of righteous, he says here, by sentencing them to their consolation of the public, sentencing them to the sight of merit. How by that I rise to the degree of righteous? What does it even mean to shift or sentence everyone to the side of merit? By seemingly suffering with the public, or because basically by that you have corrected your vessels in their incorporation in the foreign vessels in the entire world. Therefore you have no need to work more than that with the rest of the world. But later on he says that it's not a guarantee until the end. So what's my work? That I constantly have to work on this thing of seeing everyone, the whole public, in a state of seemingly the Creator is good and doing good. How about that? You said before that I need to bring the correction to myself by seeing my corruptions. I need to notice my corruptions. If I don't notice my corruptions, I can draw correction. So I'm asking, how does it coincide with the fact that I see the suffering of the suffer of the public? How about that? Do I correct my own corruptions, but you feel them? You say that you're suffering with the public, so that's actually a correction of the heart. Yes, so like the friends asked before, is it a correction of the heart, or am I going with my mind? It seems like the correction of the heart is what matters. Yes, thank you all. This medium who justifies, he has a feeling in his organs apparently that the Creator is managing him. He writes here, the writing says, and no one notices, meaning that that person does not notice because of the evil land, in other words, because of the harm that one still feels in his providence from the past. The righteous perished, meaning he lost the state of righteous. Seemingly there's a person who managed to feel that the Creator is good and does good in his present, yes, but about the past not yet. There are feelings there that he didn't yet correct, that back then he condemned the Creator, let's say so, and then he says that the correction for this says then that he will die and pass away from the world only as mere medium. All this concerns he who does not suffer with the public, and he's not rewarded seeing the comfort of the public. Seemingly there are some corrections here that he has to go through for the past and for the future. A complete righteous is one who can justify the Creator in a past, present, and future, yes, in all of their world, so that he succeeded in his present state to justify the Creator, and he also has a feeling in his organs. I want to ask about the comfort, the consolation of the public, about the future that he can't yet, but how is it related to the past? Because here he ties the past and the future, that you have to make corrections over these two parts. Yes, he has to exit himself and incorporate with the past and incorporate with the future, but he speaks about the sorrow of the public in the present, not about the past. Yes, because with the public is at present, and this also corrects his future to the extent that he becomes incorporated with the public at present, enables him to justify the future. 10. Yes, hello, Rob. In the beginning of item 129, maybe the reader can just read the first part of 129. Please. 129. 129. From all the aforementioned we have come to know that there is no woman-born person who will not experience the three above attributes: the attribute of wicked, attribute of medium, and attribute of righteous. They are called midot attributes, since they extend from the mid, the measure of their attainment of his Providence, our sages said, one is allotted, to the extent that he allots those who attain his providence in concealment of, where face are considered wicked or incomplete. Wicked from the perspective of the single, concealment or complete wicked from the perspective of the double. Concealment, thank you Rob, what does it mean? That to the extent that a one is allotted 1a. Lots he determines his degree by himself according to his revelation. His feeling he's in a certain degree, this is what he says about the Creator, this is how he determines himself. Is that an action that he allots? Yes, its measure. It's like we say every day will be as new for you. Yes, thank you. No? Well, so hello, just to add to Danny and what they discussed before this state that he describes here. I think your teacher wrote that this is corporality, this is wicked, that his heart and mouth are not equal. You basically say the Creator here and all that, and you don't feel it, or you're in something you're not really attuned for. Is there part of the correction we have to aspire to be in this state or to come out of it? No, I should aspire to be in complete adhesion with the Creator. When his mouth and heart are equal, when you say something you're aimed at that something, yeah. Yes, so what's the difference between this and what he describes here in this stage of the wicked? So he's still in the middle of the explanation. How do we go through these states? Okay, can. Yes, to continue on. This, if a person does not feel good, that does good, he only thinks, but he doesn't have that understanding of the heart, and basically as if nothing is worth it, his status is wicked like. And so our tools for to work are very much so. Thought and speech, you also written. Chatty, you also teach us a lot. We have to think about it and generate the atmosphere of the greatness of the Creator between us. So what is the place of thought and speech in the work that through thought and speech we prepare ourselves to the next degree on, where so it's only for preparation, because in the state that he's in, he as if goes off tune. Well, what can you do? I mean, how can you demand more if you only reach that? In what vessels is one supposed to feel that the providence is good, that does good? So was to be and determine that state of the righteous to justify the Creator. In what vessels does he need to feel that providence is good, that does good? Its vessels of reception, his vessels of reception. Yes, so I have to demand, to request, to see for myself that the world is good. That does good, and am I not supposed to take the concealment as revelation, to say that despite what I feel I determine this is good, that that's good? You do determine. I don't understand. I have to determine from everything that happens, from what he brings to me, from all the incidents of the world, that the providence is good. That does good, and I'm the only one who's seeing it incorrectly. Yes, okay, now if I'm doing this action he says you're working on in neutral, you're not really at the depths of your feelings, you're condemning. So I'm asking, what is the place where, like, how do you work with it? Like what asked, what Benny asked, how do we get to that work? Essentially, that status of the righteous. If the thought and speech don't matter, what do you mean they do not matter? Well, he says that it doesn't matter at all, the thought or speech with respect to the Creator. If I think of the Creator and speak of the Creator, even if I feel differently, but I speak of his greatness, good, that does good, then he says it doesn't matter the speech, while it resists the senses that don't know how to lie to themselves. It's as if with my thought and with my speech I can fake it. So he says it doesn't matter. What matters is what you feel. So asking, what is the place of working in thought and speech to become a righteous? In order to become righteous, a person should justify all the Creator's actions that come to him or through him. As when you're, and then he adheres to the Creator. If I think about something about the world, and I want in my thought, I want my thought to drip over the desire to help me see the whole world is good. That does good. Is that a correct action? That I convince myself in thought about this thing. Well, you can be persuaded by it, but what about it? I'm asking if it's a correct action. No, so incorrect. So what do I do? What do I think of during the Day during the day you need to think only about how do I rise in my will to receive to the Creator's will to bestow. There is no more. So in terms of the incorporation, the feeling of the public also needs to come as a feeling of good. That is good, or the consciousness of it is enough. What do you mean just in your consciousness or awareness? Well, we know there's the Creator and so forth, but in terms of the feeling of the whole, the public still don't have the ability or the vessels like the righteous has. But if we're talking about the incorporation and how the righteous works with the vessels of the public, this is a problem. So I'm asking, we're talking about these different times of still, present, future. So what is the general correction about that the feeling of the public also has to be as a feeling of good that does good? Yes, so then essentially the righteous always perishes time and again. He's talking about the real, the true state. This is how they feel as long as in the future state. There's no connection between these external vessels, so there can't be correction. Yes, thank you. KL can K130 right. 13 Those who are granted the sensation of his providence in the form of the first degree of disclosure of the face, called repentance from fear, are considered medium, since their feelings divide into two parts called two pans of their scales. For now that they have achieved the disclosure of the face by way of, you will see world in your life, at the very least they have attained his good providence as befits his name, the good. Hence they have the side of merit all the sorrow and the bitter torment that were thoroughly imprinted in their feeling by all the days and years they received providence of concealed face from the past before they were awarded the above repentance. All those remain and are called the side of fault, and since they have these two pans standing one opposite the other, in a way that the side of fault is set from the moment of their repentance and before, and the side of merit is set and guaranteed to them from the moment of repentance onward. The time of repentance stands between the merit and the sin. This is why they're called medium. This is clear? Herein what do you say? Okay. No, well, you too. Good morning, everyone. It is known that a person tries to persist on the path, rise a degree, and then he wants to reach equivalence of form. He's talking here about the high degree of repentance from love, also talks about the degree before that, or repentance from fear, and then what happens is that to the depth of the created being all of the mistakes and the evils are registered, and it also hinders him from advancing. So the question is, where is the turning point where the mistakes and the sins become merits? And I understand from what we learn that it happens through the incorporation of man with the SAR of the public, and if it is so, then can we say it happens in this state because a person can't turn to the Creator on his own? He does it through the public. Therein lies the Creator, and can we see the picture in this way roughly? Can you elaborate on the topic that from a bad it all turns to good? What does the create being need to do for this to happen, to continue on the path? Let's give it to your friend. I wanted to ask about the degree of the righteous. Is it something everyone needs to reach, or according to the root of the soul? Some yes, some no. Everyone, I have a feeling, think for instance that some settle for being medium. They don't have a desire more than that. Can I influence them to want to grow to sorrow of the public? And you should influence yourself. I have a desire to suffer with the public and to take part and incorporate, but if I speak to people, they don't really aspire to it. It's not important, so there's no common discussion. Basically, if one wants to be righteous, one wants to be medium, it's two different goals. Well, we're not done with creation yet, and there's no way to influence those who want to be stay at medium that they shouldn't sell for it. Well, give them an example. What do we have here? We said that to switch from evil to wicked to righteous, the intellectual understanding is not enough. We also need the gut level feeling. So when I justify another person, does one see the reason, and from based on the reason, he has a way to to justify the Creator from the heart. So the Creator opens heart, and then a person has the ability, yes, and the action itself of justification has to be above reason. Yes. Gad, yes. Gillette, I still have the same question. What is to become incorporated in the soul of the public? He says here that a person has both. He is medium, then he justifies the relation of the Creator to him, but he can't justify the attitude to the public, so how can he both stay righteous and become incorporated in the sorrow of the public and feel it? He becomes incorporated with the public and wants to justify each and every state that they're going through, and in such a way he wants to justify the Creator in order to become incorporated with them. He has to feel like he condemns like they do, so that moment he's wicked. That's a what's left. I remember he gave such an example that, like, if a person goes to save someone from the sea, he has to tie a leash to himself into the boat and then jump, otherwise he'll stay there with them. So what is this rope that makes him become incorporated with the public and not become wicked again in his own degree? He's righteous, but in the degree of the public they are wicked. He ties himself to them in order to pull them, so in that state where he's with them, is he a righteous or a wicked? When he becomes included with them, then he's wicked. So what promises him that he won't stay there, because to begin with he wants to be righteous. Even when he's connected with them, he wants to pull them to the level of righteous. I'll ask differently. He says here that righteous or wicked is in the heart. A person has a self-scrutiny to make if he truly justifies and he lives the side of bull, or he's a wicked and he lives the side of self-reception. Now there is something here that's not clear. He is already a righteous towards himself and he becomes included with the public, so he needs to become incorporated with the condemning. Doesn't matter if it's inside of him, outside of him, it's all both. So what is that state? He can't be both of those together. It's either this or that, so make up your mind. So now he's included with them with the sorrow, so he's a wicked. Yes, what promises him that he rises from it and doesn't stay there, because he remains connected to the Creator, and beat by beat he can pull himself up from there, from the evil within him. So he both wicked and connected to the Creator. Yes, still not clearly, but yeah, well, we'll go through it and we will see who woe. Yes, well, repentance from fear is anyway a love on a degree, but it's certain feeling of love and be sorry for the whole public. But who's the love for it? Towards the part of the public and not another part. Or also, I think we read it here, it's beautifully described that if he sees two people fighting each other, he can't justify them as a medium degree. So what is the feeling of love towards what? In that state of medium, in any case, there's work there with screens and reflected light, inner light. Yes, he wants to justify them and pull them to correction. Right. So he therefore equalizes with the Creator, and he ties to the Creator this person that he wants to correct. That's already the next stage. He already wants to help others, but if he just concluded the medium level, he's happy with his share, and still he has love, at least somewhat so, towards, if he's not sorry for the whole public. Towards whom is the love? It's towards the public, so he has love towards the whole public. So why is he not sharing the suffering of the public? Because he hasn't reached that yet. Okay, thank you, he hasn't reached that yet. Okay friends, what are we going to? I wanted to ask here, basically things come together where it's such a picture that a person who came to a stage where he sees, say, the next paycheck, and that means let's start with the vessels of be. In order to continue the process, he has to connect with a broader public, because the true vessels of reception, they're not in him, they're in them, and so when he connects, he falls to the degree of their wicked, and he awakens a will to receive, and thus by the work that he prays, and he draws them upwards, desire after desire, he begins a process correction of the true vessels of desires of reception which they have which is why he has to connect with them, and that's how we come to the complete righteous meaning correcting. The heart correcting the feeling is that picture more or less in the right direction going I'm listening. Well, when he became medium, did he come to his personal final correction? Yes, and now the work is to continue and awaken the vessel of reception. Yes, connect to the rest of the humanity in them if possible. Yes, then he comes to pour him to the final correction. Yes, thank you. Can I also ask, yes, about the public? Could it be that it doesn't relate to other individuals like me, but rather suffering over a whole people, like wars and Holocaust and things like that, because individually they're exactly just like me. If I take the attitude of the public to me, then it's also how it is, but with respect to things like wars and Holocaust and natural disasters that happen, maybe that needs to be corrected. I don't understand what I don't hear what they're saying. Should I repeat? I'll repeat and make it slower about the correction of individual people like me. So once I from where is he talking? Which microphone? Which you don't hear me, we hear you, but we don't hear you. Well, okay then, thank you. Okay, what next? Well, we have from the weekly portion selected excerpts. Yes, it's possible, and okay, so we'll do a song first and then move to the next part of the lesson. Shom, we're reading selected excerpts on the weekly portion. Also, you can send questions during the lesson, and we are now in item number 4 in our document. This is from Rash. Go forth from your land means from your desire, which is the desire with which one is created, called desire to receive delight and pleasure, which is regarded as self-love. This is why he was told to go out of self-love from your homeless means that father and offspring are cause and consequence, reason and result. This is so because the result comes from the drop in the father's brain, by that the result later emerges, as we explained in the previous articles. In other words, the labor when a person is going to work is in order to receive reward. It turns out that the labor gives him reward. Were it not for the reward, he would not have made any effort. It therefore follows that a person keeps, and in order to beat a sun, which is called the reward. Read again. I don't know, read it again, or was it enough? It's clear. Who is in favor of reading again? Both. Okay. Read. What can I say? Go forth from your land means from your desire, which is the desire with which one was created, called desire to receive delight and pleasure, which is regarded as self-love. This is why he was told to go out of self-love from your homeland means that father and offspring are cause and consequence, reason and result. This is so because the result comes from the drop in the father's brain, by that the result later emerges, as we explained in previous articles. In other words, the labor when a person is going to work is in order to receive reward. It turns out that the labor gives him reward. Were it not for the reward, he would not have made any effort. It therefore follows that a person keeps in order to beget a son, which is called the reward. Okay. What bringing contentment to the Creator is also a reward, may be the loftiest reward. So how to even come out of that land, of that outcome, of I don't know. Let's get closer to this reward, and then we will understand why the Creator intends it. Specifically, it's like that reward doesn't include any overlap with his will to receive. The will to receive is required. Without it, how will he receive right? So bringing contentment to the Creator, that necessitates a reward. Yes, now he tells us, go forth from your land, from the will to receive to the will to bestow, which has no reward. But if I imagine myself bringing content to the Creator in future actions, I do imagine a reward. What do you do with this depiction, with this of the future life? So you need to research whether indeed it is possible to work without a word, and how is it done? How do we organize our actions, our intentions, our advice to research that? Yes, okay. Number 5. The Creator told him, I will make you a great nation, meaning that you will have the greatness primarily in actions. Therefore here he had a place where he could show himself, meaning that he would be certain that he does not want to look at the profits, and it is a great profit to be rewarded with welcoming the still. He chose the ACT, meaning he did not intend for any reward for his work, but the main thing was the work. Here he found the place of scrutiny, for this is certainly a great thing to relinquish the reward and receive the reward of work. Normally it is so. To the contrary, one labors in order to receive reward, but here he did the opposite, giving the reward in order to receive labor. He learned this from what the Creator had told him, I will make you a great nation, as was said that the greatness is primarily the action. Again here he found the place of scrutiny, for this is certainly a great thing to relinquish the reward and receive the reward of work. Normally it is to the contrary, one labors in order to receive reward, but here he did the opposite, giving the reward in order to receive labor. He learned this from what the Creator had told him, I will make you a great nation, as was said that the greatness is primarily the action. Yes, he writes that he did the opposite. He gave the reward to receive labor. What does it mean to give the reward? He doesn't want to receive reward, the reward that he could be given, but rather instead of the reward he's asking to be given a place to work. I can't seem to understand the work he labors. He's supposed to receive a reward for it. The reward that he wants to receive is the place to labor, so that he will have a place where to labor, to exert. And how do you come to such a demand? Specifically because he's already in the work and trying to understand how from doing the work he finds more work. He changes his work. First he wanted a special state called reward. Now he wants through this new exertion a new reward, which is called to work. Yeah. No, that's it. Everybody's calm now. Yes, continue. The previous part, that it turns out the reward you need to demand is the place to work. And he's not saying I want to feel the good that does good to justify the providence. He ends the work, the to continue to work, to pray for it right, that becomes the clean work. Yet so how does it coincide? We learned before, explained that you're off, you're faking if you don't justify the providence in the vessel's good that does good complete. So that's a question. Can somebody give him an answer? No, can, yeah, could be that he does this action. He comes closer to the quality. He cleanses himself more and more each time. Be that a person who wants the work and not the reward. The Creator doesn't give the reward, and he needs above that to be rewarded, because the work is in above reason. So in above reason he wants to hold that even if the Creator shows him within that reward, he will hold that in which his goal is not reward but adhesion. Yes, in order to justify someone you need to be and act like he's right in order to justify him with the heart and not with the mind. So you need to do actions like him, and as we know that the Creator operates without reward, he bestows. So even in one thing to bestow without reward, so he acts in the same direction as the Creator, and only then can he justify him. But for the Creator to bestow, that is the reward. Yes. So the person too, if his work is that, and that he works, and he doesn't ask for anything in return, and that he has a place for workplace to bestow something, that is his reward, and in that he is similar to the Creator. Does somebody understand him? Continuing Gil, in order to reach equivalence of form with the Creator, I need to do actions, because my basis is the will to receive, and the Creator is a desire to bestow, and adhering to him so as he is most. If so, you be merciful. We want to reach equivalent. He organized it correctly. Yes. Maybe it's like a child who yearns to be like an adult. He tries to do some action, he exerts, he plays, and then in the moment that they let him so, and he succeeds to do it, then that is his reward. He tries to be in that all the time. So in our situation, we want to come closer to resemble the creator, the quality of bestow. Maybe we play in that, but that's our goal. So if we allowed into that, so that is our reward to be in order to bestow. That's what we aimed ourselves. That yes. No? Well, I think that Bam gave us an example in the introduction beforehand. In the comparison between the first T and RAB are in the different degrees they seem completely concealed, that you cannot interpret it. Simply so, you need to accept that, and in some place it opens, because if you don't open it until the end, so then it seems as if not seems for certain. You gave us the example recently how Rabash would put an X through something, then say it's incorrect, and then he would start anew. Could be that reward is in exertion, and also in the greatness of the creator. Reward can be anywhere that a person sees that it's a reward, that it was something he was lacking. Could it also be that the reward of exertion is in the intellect, and that the greatness of the creator is in the heart? That we didn't learn yet, and it's difficult to that in both places. It's there. Yexins in the work of love of friends, there is great reward, there's great pleasure in that. So precisely if we hold on to this work, so then the reward becomes we become more sensitive to that, how our action would be correct in the work of love of friends. The more we are in love of friends, obviously the reward becomes more clear, more felt, and then it's also increasingly felt. How to be careful with that reward? Yes. So again, it depends on how much we work in the love of friends. Yes. To K. Yet the labour in the prayer and in the reward, that's a prayer. Right, meaning I need to come from a prayer to in order to bestow, and the reward is the pair of bestow. No. Well, I feel like I'm in the same place for a long time, and I want to go from this up land from Israel, but my legs don't move. So why doesn't he take us? What's he waiting for that he will ask correctly? Call Palanya that takes place each time, and with an emotion, with such a deep need in my stomach, in my heart. How can I restrict my desire in order to raise my prayer with gratitude and begin from the right foot? I'm swallowed in the desire, even if it's the desire of the heart or not. How can I raise my head to take your head out above? Yes, above my will to receive for myself. Yeah, and start with the right foot, which would be with the intention to fulfill him. Yet that's a great problem. My legs won't move. All the public, all the friends, all the divinity, all the sore of the or public, there's no difference between them, right? Everything depends on the problem in my head or my heart. I don't know even where the problem is. Everything depends on the mouth between the head and the cart. Okay, no. Well, I did Torah and Mitivi in order to bring son this reward. Can the son correct me? Yes, if you give birth to a son, that's already making you correct. Sition question is also, does the reward also influence me in return? Yes, what she thinks about a reward, I'm saying that already belongs to her. It already fills her now state. Fourish, can we work without expecting gains? That's difficult, but it's possible. At the end of the EXD we read, he writes that the main part of the gladful greatness is the action. What is that greatness in the 10? The main work is in the deeds, meaning to receive in order to be. Still said that I'm happy for the wicked that have been revealed, meaning that he's happy instead of the work that he'd been given, and that's what it means to become a holy Gentile. Yes. Go forth mean that the Creator gave Abraham a new path. No nature is the same. Nature can. Okay, you have a good connection with them. You constantly look at them. All right, so let's go to our place of the exertion. I accept that. As reward, did I do that, or is that an action of the group as a whole? Who heard this? Did somebody hear? I see her up again now. I hear him. The place where we accept exerion as reward, is it something that I do individually, or is something with as the group as a whole does? It's personal, or please, there's another question from Beat here. The main aspect of the work is the exertion here. Many points in the heart have gathered from the whole Baltic state everyone put in his exertion in order to come here to feel that importance of being a righteous, but there is a medium state between righteous and wicked, like some kind of stop. What actions do we need to do when we find ourselves here in this space where everyone has gathered together, that everyone's given a lot of investment? What efforts are demanded of us to do? We have come to this physical gather, to this physical unity, but what else? What next? What did he say? Can somebody repeat that? Yes, do in the Beatic region they've gathered physically around all of Bella, and they're asking, what action should we do here that we've gathered physically? Lots of people have put in a lot of investment, and they're asking what should they do in addition to the physical gathering in order for our physical gathering to become a spiritual gathering. We just need to intend for that to be as one man with one heart, and the result of their convent ion will be one vessel. More, what does it mean to ask correctly from the Creator, and how do we ask correctly from Him? To ask from the Creator correctly, and how to do it correctly. How to ask correctly? You turn to the Cree and you ask, but we need first to feel the deficiency in the heart. What is the deficiency in our heart? Do I want to incorporate with all my friends, to be with them as one man with one heart, and from that heart we can connect to the Creator? That's it. Can I ask him another topic? Yeah. Yesterday we had a special training day for the whole world CLE on the topic of AI. I wanted to ask first about a few things. Firstly, that whole revolution of AI, this advanced technology that's entering humanity now. How do you see that? Where is it taking humanity, and where is it taking precisely us in terms of the dissemination of the wisdom of Kabbalah? It's hard to say it. I still can't say what exactly it'll bring humanity, what it will bring us exactly, and when we'll see its results. There are very contradicting opinions about it, and I don't know. So there are people who see it. There's this opportunity for a breakthrough, for refining our advancement forward, and other people say that it's the opposite. They saying why are you even engaging in this? It's going to take humanity to a harmful direction, and you're inserting your Torah into it. I think there were such things, and there'll be more, and whether this is going to save humanity, I'm completely uncertain about that. Completely uncertain, as if humanity's really reached the peak, that they're coming to something very advanced and refined that don't need anything. On one hand, on the other hand, everyone is in this kind of rotting state. Where is it bringing us? Essentially to this essential point of recognition of evil, that we need exactly to measure and decide to adapt ourselves in a correct way. On the other hand, in terms of the dissemination of the wisdom of Kabbalah, there are wonderful tools. You can do a video that would have taken you a year to make in a week. Don't you see some benefit in the opening to dissemination? Not so much. If there was a desire to hear, to study, to see, then I'd see it this way, as an opening for dissemination, but who to disseminate to awaken at least. No, we're not going to wait for desire to study to awaken. We have to work on it. But for now, we ourselves don't know how to advance. Question that arose. Let's say there's this ability today, like to make this avatar, to make a virtual profile of R, to make your own image of Rasham, and to insert into you all of the sources, all the texts you've said, and it's something that's computerized there, some virtual that you can ask him and receive questions from it. It's similar to us being in interaction, but it's me and this image doing that. Do you think that that's correct? For now, I can't depict that to myself. I got it's like a fairy tale. I wouldn't run towards that direction and be happy about that. But you know, why wouldn't you run to use this advanced technology? For what did it become revealed? I still don't know that either. But it could be that it's being revealed in order to reach some kind of purpose on the way. But for now, we don't see that can be, and what people are talking about it. It could all be just people's interests. Okay, maybe other friends can Ask we can take people are already doing it. We can take what you said for the last 30 years, all the terms, and for instance ask the software what would the Laitman say, how would he define faith, and then you get a nice answer. What faith is from every time you mention that word in the last 30 years. That's one option. Another option, if I ask you right now what is faith, what's the difference between those two answers, what you will give me now compared to what we get from their database, from that database. That's all generally what I said and stated in some case, and that is all. I still haven't seen from these things anything that is correct and good for humanity. When a student asks you a question and you answer him yes, what place do you answer from? With what I have from mind and heart, so that supposedly sounds the same. I don't know. Again, we are still in the middle of the path, at the beginning of this new path. It could be that in another few years we will understand how to use it correctly, but in the meantime I don't know what to say, so I'll try one more time. What's the difference between a database of all the knowledge to spirituality? For sure that's not the same, because spirituality is not an accumulation of all the knowledge that people came up with and now they gathered it in some place and afterward they want to use it. Could it be that knowledge disturbs spirituality, that it does the exact opposite? Yes, certainly such a thing exists. Because in everything bad without good without bad, but you need to know how to differentiate between these two. There is knowledge and intellect. We'll advance and we'll see. Yes, I want to continue. Do you think that the software or artificial intelligence and artificial, can it delay a correction? It depends how we use each thing. We just read how important exertion is, our inner effort to develop the connection between us, the connection of love. I feel that maybe this thing won't give us that exertion, that inner effort, but it will really just let you jump over all kinds of stages on our correction, that it'll be convenient for the ego. Why not? If you can really jump over all kinds of stages, push a button, get answers, there's no inner effort that we want to reach to really discover a common force called the Creator, because all our effort here is really our common work here between us. Maybe it'll delay us. I don't know. That's my answer. I don't know. As much as I understand, many more years will need to pass before we will know how to use it. That's all. No, guys, what else do we need to scrutinize today? We have a part. Can I ask a question about some current event? Yesterday there were programs in Amsterdam. Fans were lynched. There was a big riot there and humiliations. What do we have to learn from this? That we see such revelations of the hatred, that it's correct for today that we need to stop all kinds of places of contact with the nations of the world. We have to stop. What stop points of contact with the nations of the world? What isolate ourselves? If they would have not travelled to that soccer game, would something have happened? Yes, I want to ask this. There's a state in the nation that the polarity is growing and the violence level between the two sides is also rising. Today it's already on a physical level. Difficult. We always say that everything that happens because of us, that we didn't do enough or we're not doing it correctly. All kinds of things. I'm looking at us and I don't understand what we can add. We had our kinds. There were attempts of murder in our nation and soon they'll succeed. The question is, what does it depend on? What can we do to bring a correction and not the disaster that we're bringing on ourselves? What are we doing incorrectly? If we're doing incorrectly, I don't know. Everything what? Everything we do incorrectly. So what should we do? I don't know, but as you ask, we need to leave this connection with the end of the world. That's not something I am worrying about. That's a result of the connection between us. That's what we learn. No, now you cannot make a comparison immediately between the study and the world. That's what I think. We need to focus on the inner Connection in the nation, yes, okay, so that's what I'm asking about this. Attempts of murder in the nation, what are we doing wrong that is causing that we reach such a state in our nation? We murdered someone, not yet, no. Okay, I don't know what to tell you. Guys, I think that we need to learn what's happening with us, what's happening with humanity, where we need to be in relation to humanity, and that is all. Is there something that is not doing good, not doing correctly? I'm not speaking about be it all. You asked me about the world. No, I wasn't asking about the world. I was asking about the nation of Israel, and specifically, we say that the state in the nation is because of our work. That's at least what we used to say. Is that right? Maybe it's not right. Can I ask about a specific case? A little while ago, there was a demonstration, well, the regular demonstration in Kapan in Tel Aviv. A girl happened to come there with special needs. She didn't exactly understand where she was. She made some kind of calling that goes against the opinion of the demonstrators. The result was a lynched her almost. She went unconscious. The police got her out in the last moment. She left with broken bones in a very bad state. She's in the hospital. They didn't even start. The police didn't open a request. Only when she got out of the hospital and complained. We'll see what's up. The media hasn't spoken on it just until she went to the police, and only a certain channel with a certain direction is the only one who talked about it. Talked about it in the Knesset, and nothing changed. So I'm asking, if we're already in such a state, what do we do in order to correct this? You're asking me, who can I ask? I have nothing to say. I have no solution. The solution should be spiritual. No, here was speaking about corporal action, right? But what does it, where does it come from? I don't know how much it even comes close to spiritual. You understand, meaning that is not a problem that we solve in a spiritual manner. That's for sure only in a corporeal way. How do we bring unity to our nation, unity to the nation, to him? We need to close them all together so much they will talk, discuss, do whatever they want, and we shouldn't let them leave until they will reach the correct solution. Okay, yeah. Nice, K. The new relation that the nation of Israel should have towards the nations of the world. Why? New, there's a feeling that the nation of Israel has a relation of dependency in the nations of the world. What they say, what they'll respond. That every act we do, it's like a child. Yes, I understand. So something new has to be in that relation, that dependency. I'd say to make it stop being dependent, it cannot be, because the people of Israel, it's a 0.2% of the world's population, something like that. So what do you want? Where have you seen that such a percentage will determine something for everyone? I don't know. On one hand, we learn, we hear, even somewhat we feel that we have a big influence internally. That's correct. So that's on one hand. On the other hand, the feeling is that they're determining on us, that they're deciding for us, that there's a contradiction here, meaning how do you reach this point where I, the nation of Israel, feel the responsibility? It's like a maturity, that he has a responsibility for the world. It will for sure also change its behavior towards the world. So we need to go out to the nation and engage in dissemination in teaching. What should we tell the nation? That it'll start changing their relations, that it should recognize its place in history between the nations, just like BAM writes on a corporal level. The future, like you said, it's something corporeal. Why are you running? What are you searching for over there? So should something change in us also, in our corporal dependency, rebuild some kind of system. Everything what will lead it, what thought that we need to show the nations of their world. What does it mean to be one nation? An example, one nation means that it's also a nation that knows how to be concerned with himself. You can put it that way. Okay, what grandpa you said about questions and answers, that there's knowledge, and you always have to also say that there's a creator. Yes, and we have to mention it because his greatness is concealed, and he's good that does good It's not in my mind to understand it. We always have to add this to all our scrutinies. Now a gift I got from you once about questions and answers that it's for everyone 'cause I'm sure it wasn't for me. Was the reader. And I asked you whether if I feel that the Creator is conducting me or not is the Creator conducting me, and your answer was yes. This was a crossroads of scrutiny that were very essential for me. Thank you. Okay, Ken. Continuing is an organization that sees itself as interested or aspiring to push to the unity in the nation in any possible way. As such an organization, when you look at the different polarity in Israel, so in the nation of Israel, the way you see it today, are there parts that you can say about them that there's nothing you can do, they will never want to unite? Can that be no? So even the most extreme parts we also have to try. And you see what they say about being the end of correction and before meaning on the way what should be the relation towards the parts that they themselves declare that they will never go towards unity. They aren't even taking it into account. Yes, how to relate to them, how to bring them back. And I don't know little. I don't know. I understand that we need to gather and to pray. Okay, so we're going to go to the studying between the friends. So transition, and we'll go to the next stage. We are in the stage of studying between the friends. We will read from the Zohar, the portion of the article, What Does the World Stand On? We're in item 6 again, the portion of number 6. You can find the links on our websites. At that time a herald comes out and declares aloud to you, holy heroes, to those of you who allowed spirit in their ears so they can hear, whose eyes are open to see and whose hearts are open to know. Through this herald the righteous awaken to rise from their slumber, to engage in tow, and they draw the middle line. Ears are inner, and their light is called hearing. Eyes are, and their light is called seeing. At night the eyes are shut, since they cannot shine due to the judgments at midnight. The illumination of the left from Ima arrives, while it is illumination of from the dew of. Although the force of seeing is already there, it is still impossible to open the eyes, because the light of is still absent and does not shine without. At that time the righteous arise to engage in tea and to raise, and rises from man to the two lines that are extended there from the two dots. Then the level of is extended over the screen of Z, which decides between the two lines, and they are included in one another. The in the left dresses in the right, and she can shine. This is when the eyes open, those among you who put spirit in his eyes to hear, since the righteous raise man in the engagement in tow and in still the middle line to the ears, which are two lines in through which the in the left dresses in the on the right. At that time the eyes open to see, since they can shine once they have been clothed in the middle line is called, and then these three lines become from which they are extended to of, and from there of the souls of the righteous. All those come out through their engagement in Torah, and this dew, which is the deciding line, in overturns and shines from above downward to the goof, and the dot in the spreads downward and fills the heart and the whole body. This is the herald that comes at midnight, at the start of the illumination of the left line from the dot of sh for the righteous to raise man. For the extension of the middle line the herald comes out and calls aloud, because it is the blocking of the judgments of the D. Of this is why it is discerned that he comes out with a great force and calls upon the righteous to correct them. Be force is the clarification of the extension of the three lines from two and from two and from to the souls of the righteous. When the wind at is the root of all winds, raises the sweetness of their soul, and the voice that is the root of all voices comes from there. The forces spread to the four directions of the world. Z, which rises in the sides between the two lines in B, is called the of all, the because it is the root middle line, from which the middle lines are extended to all the degrees, because the light of B is called, and once the rises raises to those N which are beaner and decided between the 2 lines in her that became an audible sound. This means that prior to the decision of the no lights were heard, in which is called, and it activated the hearing in them because they were completed through it, and they shine outward when Z rose to Beaner and raised the sweetening of the lights of Beaner, called Nishta. There it means that he revealed the 3 lines. Thereafter the revealed the 3 lines, and a voice was made comes out of there and becomes the root of all the voices, because it comes out and spread downward its powers, spread and scattered to the 4 directions of the world, to Z and below, because south, north, and east are Zin, and the west is the. Let's see a clip by. Everyone needs to open the heart with a certain password. Does he open the heart? Meaning, what does he type on that case on that safe, so that it will open, so that's what will happen when he's reading the book of Zohar wisdom of Kabbalah, called the wise in of the heart, because they processed their heart in such a way, their desires, so that the light of can enter them. So we need to think, what can we open it with, otherwise we will not attain the wisdom, the delight of how do we open the desires so that they will be open to the light, opening the heart. We are number 7. 1 rises to the right side of the UN. This is south, which is extended from the dot of another, descends to the left side of Zin, which is north, which is extended from the do of 1 that enters between 2 is the middle line of Zan, east, which is extended from the dot of meaning from Z to the side between the 2 lines in Beaner. Those 3 sides, south, north, and east, are in what he says concerning the illumination of the right. That 1 rises means that its illumination rises from below upward. Concerning the illumination of the left, it is said that 1 descends, meaning that its illumination descends from above downward, since it concerns the order of their emergence. Before the emergence of the middle line, in the beginning the right line comes out of without in me, afterwards the left line returns to me, and the name Elim in blocking is completed. At that time the right shines from below upward, as is the nature of illumination of V, and the left shines from above downward like. However, they are blocked due to absence of however after the electricitation of the middle line and their inclusion in one another. The order of their illumination is reversed. 1 that rose descends, and 1 that descends rises. Thus the right shines from above downward, and the left only from below upward. It does not count the sensitive are not real, but only that became the 2 are crowned and illuminate, meaning they became 3 through the middle line that decided between them. Hence 3 enter into 1, because the middle line deaf, it receives and spreads into 3 other lines by itself. This is so because the lower 1 is rewarded with full measure that it causes in the illumination of the uplight of the upper 1, since it is its cause. Hence, since Sin rose and the sighted in Beaner, and it became the middle line, there Zin himself was rewarded with the 3 lines that emerged in Beaner because of him, and he himself expanded into 3 lines. Similarly, which is the middle line that the Sid between the 2 lines was himself rewarded with all 3 lines, and they expanded into the 3 lines. This was so because the 2 became 2 lines. Through hence all 3 entered the 1, which is, and he himself spread into 3 other lines, which are came out of the 1 that decides. Oft colours he emanated the of the which are called colours, 6 of them to 1 side to the right, and 6 of them to the other side to the left. It follows at the 6 entered 12 the 6 of spread in the NB, and became 12 6 to her right and 6 to her left, and all those 12 are from her and above. Also they are doubled, because from and above the comprises 2 that are extended from 2 points, which are called key and luck. Hence 2 levels of emerge in her, 1 from the key in illumination of, and the other of from the L without the illumination of, but covered. Therefore the 6 of the became 12 in her 2 levels of the 12 from and above spread from the of down and became 22. This is so because the 6 of do not become 12 here, but are included in the 10 since 10 stand in 1. This is so because there has no coupling from her down due to the absence of her luck the face of her man. It is therefore considered but only 2 times are extended down, and not since, although the of the key extends from the down, he is unfit for coupling because he does not have of thick there to be incorporated in it. Thus it is not considered a, and she has only 10 from down. Down consists only of 10, which are 2 times, and not 12 because 10 stand in 1 included in the lock key is unit for a coupling, and the seemly absent. This is why 2 are missing. Here and there are only 2 times, which are T. However, all the illumination of appears only in those 10 from the down, but the coupling is carried out from the above, and the level of the coupling extends in from down, and from there the souls of the righteous receive. Let's see another clip speaking about the connection between the soul. When we read a text, hear something about the holy books, we need to direct ourselves to connection between the souls where it's speaking about the correct connection, but all kinds of connection that there is in the system between the souls were all in. All they connect together to one soul, one collective soul, called, and then from that soul the Creator becomes revealed, the light of Nanai. So the sun, the moon, the planet, earth, distances between us I discussed. There are all kinds of actions that discuss our connection between us. It is all between me and others. That is how I need to depict everything that is written. Correct connections between the souls is what it is depicted in the text, and only that in that network which is corrected. I reveal spirituality. We have an announcement. Now we wanted to share with you and invite you to an event that will be in 2 or 3 weeks on the 21st of November on Thursday evening at 6 p.m. We're going to have a special screening of this series, The Journey to the Land of Israel, prepared that for dissemination, and we invite you to come and watch that as a whole series, and then maybe we'll have a discussion around that series. It's a special opportunity to come and connect together and also get to know content that's good for dissemination. It's Thursday 21st of November, and it's going to be here in the building in announcement tomorrow at 6:30 building. A spiritual society. It'll be on the system. Men and women welcome to together physically. In today's schedule Shabbat, we're going to go down to the meal at 11:45. We have a preparation for the lesson at noon, the physical lesson here.